Hello everyone, you're watching Fanta Vision, and this is Wholesome Mondays. Now, I wanted to make this series because there's a lot of negativity on not only this channel, but most of YouTube. So I thought, what would be a good way to start the week for people in a normal work week? And I thought, hey, maybe a wholesome segment on Mondays would be a good idea. And I don't know if this is going to stick. We'll see if you guys like it. I don't know. But for now, that's what we're going to be doing. So this week on Wholesome Mondays, we're going to be covering GameStop. Now, normally that'd be a rant, but in some recent news, supposedly GameStop is going to be entering the board game territory. Now, why would this be a positive and good thing? Well, board games have been such a small market for such a long time. And when they were sort of big, they were Monopoly, Yahtzee, Scrabble. And those aren't bad games, but Settlers of Catan, Pandemic, Roll for the Universe, all that kind of stuff. Maybe it's Roll for the Galaxy, but that's... Anyway, so all those more in-depth and detailed board games weren't really a huge thing until probably the last couple of years. And I think that's due in part to Kickstarter, and just the fact that video games have been kind of boring recently. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I used to be super excited for video games, used to be new IPs all the time. There was just so much new. And that's what's going on in board games right now. Is there's constantly new themes, there's new rules, there's new boards, there's new characters. And the cool thing about board games is, unlike video games, especially nowadays, you're playing a physical thing with people sitting right next to you. And that experience, in my opinion, is so much more enriching than most of these new games that have come out. And it's a great way to interact and hang out with friends. Kick back, have a couple of beers, have some chips on the side, playing some Settlers or whatever your game of choice is. It's a fun way to get together. So I think this could be a great thing for GameStop, because right now their reputation's awful. It really is, because they're known for really pushing pre-order culture, which is something that's awful, and I'll discuss in a future rant video. They're known for pushing some membership card that doesn't do that much. Best Buy's got them beat, so they're dying there. They're starting to sell toys in their store, but I mean, really, who cares about those? I mean, I feel like pop figures are a fad that's slowly dying out. Maybe it's just me, but when I first saw them, I was like, okay, that's fine. And they're still here. Like there's a pop figure of everything. So I think the oversaturation of those is going to go away. And also in GameStop right now, they have Monopoly and Yahtzee and stuff like that. But I've heard that they're breaking into bigger and better board games. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to start doing with that. Also, I don't know if you guys remember, but they've actually published a couple games now. GameStop has published games, which is, it's really weird to think about a game store helping to make a game, sort of. They had, what was it? Oh, it's behind me. It's the one in the ocean. The game in the ocean. I don't know if they've made any other games, but no, Has Been Heroes. They've also made, I think they published Has Been Heroes. I could be wrong. Behind me is telling me if I'm wrong. Am I wrong? I'm probably wrong. But that's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying I cannot wait to see what happens to GameStop as they slowly become less of a game store. Well, less of a video game store and more of a board game store. Because, I mean, there's Barnes & Noble, Target, and then some of the card shops have board games, but they don't really focus on board games. Like, there's a place called Amazing Discoveries that isn't too far from here. And they have I think, the biggest supply of Magic the Gathering cards on the West Coast. That's insane. And they have a ton of board games, but there's no real support for the board games. Like, I want to be able to go to a place where I can just meet up with random people and play a board game. That'd be a great way to make new friends, meet new people, and just not have to own all the board games or even test a board game, before you buy it. Having a place like that nationwide, even worldwide, because I know EB Games is all over the place. I'm not sure what they're doing. I don't know if GameStop is influencing EB Games the same way they are their main GameStop stores. It is the same company, but I don't know what's going on. But I walked into a GameStop store yesterday, and I've just noticed over the months there's been less and less games on the shelf and more other stuff. And I feel like the only way GameStop knows that they're going to survive the future, because Best Buy is killing them right now with new games. There's no reason to buy a game from GameStop. There's no reason at all. The pre-order bonuses are usually the same everywhere else, and even then, who cares really? It's like a weapon, and then you're outclassed in like the first 5 seconds. You don't get as good of a discount at GameStop. Like I said, that 20% off at Best Buy, and Amazon is starting to do that now to compete with Best Buy. So people are noticing that there is competition for new games, and GameStop's not really doing anything about it. Now, I understand why, because they really don't make much money on new games. They make like maybe $5, but in order to have people even come to the store, they're really going to need to start doing some more deals. At least do 20% off used games than what the price is of new. Because right now, I think it's like $55 for a brand new game when it comes out, used. Saving me $5, why would I go there when I can save 12 and buy it brand new at Best Buy or order it off of Amazon? So there's all this competition in the video game market, and GameStop is not keeping up. So what they're going to need to do is branch into this board game market. And the board game market is exploding. It's getting bigger and bigger. I don't know if the bubble's going to pop, but I don't think it will. I feel like with the quality of the board games that are coming out, I think they're just going to keep getting better and better, and the market's going to keep growing. So as that market grows, GameStop really needs to jump feet first into this market and figure out how to make a profit off of it, how they're going to keep customers coming back to their store, and kind of figure out how they're going to shift away from video games, because you can't really have both. You really can't. You're going to need board games or video games, because there's only so much shelf space, especially in a GameStop. I don't know if you've noticed, but GameStop is usually a very cramped store. I know there's a lot of big stores out there, but most GameStops I've been to are kind of holes in the wall. So with that small space, if they focused on board games, and they started cutting deals with manufacturers of board games, they started cutting deals with the different companies that are making them, they could get a higher profit margin, and they could start having like board game nights or like a board game day, or they could set up tables and just have people sitting there playing. There's so many different possibilities that I can imagine for GameStop to grow as a company and change and kind of pivot away from the video game market and into the board game market, and they could still make a profit. So I think that would be the best way for them to go. I know used games is their thing, but with all those other discounts and new games dropping at $20 faster than you can even believe it, there's no reason to buy used anymore. There really isn't, except for that 7-day warranty where you just return it after 7 days. Because you're like, well, that was a fun rental, thanks for that. I wish GameStop the best if they do make this transition to board games. I still don't like them right now. Right now I don't, because they're behind the times and they prey upon people that are not informed. Which I'm not mad at them for doing that. It's just it's not the most ethically sound thing in the world. They're preying upon stupid people. Well, I guess not stupid people, just the less informed people, like grandmas, moms, dads that don't play video games, stuff like that. And I'd like to see them transition back to the hardcore market, and they could do that with board games. They could go back and get, the usual people that play board games involved, and like I said, they could start making their own. So there's unlimited possibilities of things they could do, and they could get out of the realm of ruining the games industry by pushing pre-orders and GPGs and a magazine that they force you to get digitally unless you specify otherwise. That nobody reads the magazine anymore. There's millions of YouTubers out there to watch for reviews now, and there's IGN and GameSpot and I almost said Game Trailers, but they're gone. They can't compete in the magazine. They can't compete in new games. The only thing they've got is used, and that's even dwindling. So if they make the pivot, good on you. If they don't, I think we're going to see a lot more GameStops closing. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know how you think about this series. I know some of you guys actually watched my like 40-minute Destiny video. I want to thank you guys for watching that. That was a really long video. And comment down below if there's any other ideas for videos you guys want me to do. And other than that, have a fantastic day. See ya.